Welcome back to Quick Notes with Chris on. Today we're going to be talking about the book Get It Done Now by Tracy. If you've ever heard this author from the book Eat That Frog, this is one that breaks down the psychology behind productivity, what distracts us, you can do, and some specific success tips and that you can implement in order to make yourself overall a more productive person. So if you've ever read the book Eat That Frog, there are a lot of sort of flow over conversations and topics that he has within the book that you can still apply and I think are very, very awesome whenever it comes to beating procrastination and different aspects for it. So the book essentially proposes the question, how is it that we live in a time where it is so readily applicable to have knowledge? It is so easy and understandable to attain any bit of knowledge or get qualified or certified on any bit of topic than ever before. If there was ever a problem that is out there, you can definitely look up how to solve it within the matter of your fingertips. It is ridiculous and it is absurd how it is that we have the potential to be so intelligent. It also goes back into that play how we have more than ever so much more knowledge on health, so much information on how it is to be healthy, on what certain foods do what to us, and how in order to basically optimally perform in terms of energizing. And yet, here in Australia, we're the second most obese country. We've been more obese than we ever have before. Well, the same thing goes with knowledge and productivity, and how essentially the thing that we are most readily applicable towards learning and having the ability to have knowledge at our fingertips is the exact thing that kills productivity and makes us lazy. So far, we live in a digital age, whereas everything that is so readily applied, we can literally achieve anything instantly. Instant gratification, straight away. And yet, we are constantly being distracted from the thing that we're looking towards achieving. Prioritization takes a backseat towards being distracted nowadays, especially with social media. Well, basically, the book understands that what productivity promises and the pitfalls of what we have within this modern age. Specifically, how it is that the internet and all this different technology is such a promise of productivity, and the downfall of it. See, when it comes to the internet, whatever it is that you're looking towards achieving, it is such an awesome resource to utilize. In fact, I'd argue it is the best resource in modern history. That no matter what you want to look out towards learning, you literally have the ability to at the comfort of your own home or while out in public in the comfort of your own fingertips. So much productivity can be promised in that, but comes with it is distraction. And basically, you have to look towards understanding how you can optimize your operation whenever it comes to looking towards doing whatever it is that you need to be done. So the book basically talks about understanding the difference between productive use of this electronics and the internet and unproductive use of the electronics and the internet. It talks about how to overcome it, basically looking towards prioritizing productivity based on the options that you have. So first of all, identify the devices that are within your personal ownership that are productive, that are non-negotiable when it comes to work. For example, if you run a business, nowadays you definitely need a laptop. You cannot get rid of a laptop. It is non-negotiable. You have to have it. But then it goes a little bit further and says, what about specific programs, specific applications, whether it's on your phone or on your laptop, that are optional? Once you basically have decisively discerned the two, so the ones that are non-negotiable you have to use for work, and the apps and basically daily usage that are optional, look towards actively setting time frames and situations in which you can use it. For example, something like social media. For the most part, you probably don't need it. If you run a business, that might be a different case. But for the most part, you probably don't need it. So rather than having it readily available at your fingertips, make it so that you can only use it at certain either times of the day or certain rooms or certain places, or a combination of both. The thing that it talks about is how back in the day, when TV was on and everybody was so focused on TV, at the very least there was set times that you'd sit at the TV. You would only be there for a certain amount of time to watch your certain show that might go between half an hour to an hour. That's your set time period. And then generally speaking, you might move towards something else. Well, times have changed. Entertainment is so readily available at our fingertips, then you can find yourself scrolling for hours and hours and hours, just constantly consuming this level of entertainment every day and every minute, being distracted in terms of being productive. And the psychology behind it goes that there's cue, routine, reward. There's cue, routine, reward. Entertainment comes to us while we're on our phone. That's the cue. The routine is that we click the video, and the reward is that we laugh. And when that gets so addictive, because you can watch anywhere between 100 to 300 videos a day in the span of 30 seconds each going through Facebook. The psychology of productivity basically incites that no matter what, we are destined to be distracted in this day and age. No matter what, our attention span is going. And back in the day, it used to be 15 seconds. Now it's gone down to 6. A goldfish is a 7. We're drastically decreasing, and part of that is because we're just being constantly spammed with information overload. So when it comes to grabbing your attention, we're designed to be distracted. And the only way to really overcome that is by isolating it where we can. He basically says that putting the end to procrastination talks about utilizing what he talks about in Eat That Frog. In Eat That Frog, he basically says, identify what you need to do the next day and do the toughest, most mundane, whatever the task that you fear the most, the one that you don't want to do the most, and eat that frog first thing in the morning. The definition behind it is that if you were to eat a frog in the morning, your day couldn't get much worse. So by attacking the most mundane, the thing that you are trying to dread the most, no matter what, your day can't get worse than that initial task. And from there, you look towards building a level of momentum. Because when you start to accomplish things, you want to accomplish more, especially if those things become easier compared to the first task that you look towards completing. So eat that frog. If you understand what it is that you need to do that day, and it's not necessarily time specific, look towards applying the first thing that you could possibly do first thing as soon as you wake up. That way you'll have a level of snowball of momentum when it comes to achieving the thing that you want to, and constantly makes the rest of the day and the task that comes far more easier. Finally, productivity and relationships, where it applies and where it doesn't. Too often than not, so many people understand that the relationships that they have is more of a strength than a weakness. Well, the truth is it's relative to the person that you're in a relationship with. If you put two productive people together, then productivity is going to be the outcome. However, if you put a productive person with a procrastinator or someone who's unproductive, what's going to happen is that both parties are going to either increase or decrease their level of productivity. And recognizing that as a relationship, the goal is for two people who both have strengths to combine and bring each other to a different platform, a new level, and benefit each other. Sort of like Beyonce and Jay-Z. So apart, they had a 500 million net worth, but together they were the first billionaire hip-hop couple. So you can normally utilize this concept in terms of understanding productivity in relationships and how you should be looking towards creating relationships with people that amplify your productivity. Going into relationships where you're just going to constantly be distracted is definitely not the smartest idea, especially if you're running into a business, you're running a leadership team, whether it's ministry or sport. If you're wanting to succeed, you're either focused or distracted. And it's all about limiting your distractions to amplify on your focus time, making sure that you're getting closer to that goal. So realistically, just to summarize, we live in a digital age. We are constantly being distracted. Even though information and education is at our fingertips and is readily available more than ever, we are also so more likely to be distracted. So in order to combat that, utilize situations, times, and places when you can specifically use your electronics. For example, if you have a phone that you're always on social media on it, if you were only able to utilize those social media or have that specific phone in a certain room in your house, then you can basically orientate and delegate that, I guess, vice or bad behavior to that specific room and only orientate it to a certain time period. For example, only having it for maybe 1 hour or a certain amount of the day, say at like 9 o'clock at night, once everything is specifically done, and now you have the right to be distracted because everything that you needed to be done is done, like it's gone. So you know that you no longer have that temptation of becoming unproductive because you no longer have the opportunity to continually work on it. Better yet, delete the apps that are optional on your phone. Any app that you don't necessarily need, that you find yourself wasting a decent amount of time from, get rid of it. You have to view these things as an addiction, and the first part of an addiction is, first of all, admitting that you have a problem. So if you can recognize that, yes, these things are optional activities within my life and taking me away from my productive goal and getting closer to it, get rid of it. Now, the next thing is anchoring your environment through this. If you're a person who's addicted to alcohol, the first thing to do would be get rid of the alcohol in your house. Well, why would you not treat that addiction the same whenever it comes to applications and distractions? Create a new Facebook, create a new social media if you need it for work, and have it orientated specifically with a page that's dedicated only following the things that are relative to the job or industry that you're trying to break into. That way you make sure that you're not constantly being distracted. And finally, procrastination. Look, eat that frog. I can't stress this enough. This is such an awesome idea. It's definitely applicable and 100% will get you in a more motivated mindset and a more productive overall lifestyle. First thing in the morning, if you can, no matter what, do the most dreadful, most fearful thing that you want to do that day. If it's personally for you working out, do it first thing in the morning. You'll always feel a lot better when you do the thing that you dread the most straight away. Because now all of the fear, all of the anticipation that's coming behind it is no longer relative. Next one is finally that I want to hit on once more is relationships. You want to get in relationships with people who force you to be more productive, not people who force you to be more unproductive unless it's certain circumstances. Relationships are always a combination of two people and the outcome you want it to be bigger together rather than less. Your strengths are going to be amplified by another partner's strengths just as how it's going to be brought down by your weaknesses. And that's not just in partnerships, but it's also in general friendships and other relationships relationships of the sort. Anyways, guys, that's it for Quick Notes with Chris on. Thanks for watching. Get It Done by Brian Tracy. I highly suggest you read the book to have a more in-depth understanding of what it's all about. But when it comes to improvement, don't stop there. Keep looking at the other videos we have on the channel to put yourself in a better position for success. I'll see you in the next one.